Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Taliban have taken the strategically important city of Ghazni, the 10th provincial capital to fall to the militants in less than a week. Ghazni is on the major Kabul-Kandahar motorway linking militant strongholds in the south to the capital. Almost a third of the country's 34 provincial capitals are now under Taliban control. The United Nations estimates that over 400,000 people have been internally displaced, leaving 18 million in need of humanitarian assistance. The Australian capital, Canberra, is going into a snap one-week lockdown after recording its first coronavirus case in more than a year.
This is the most serious public health risk that we have faced in the Territory this year, really since the beginning of the pandemic.
The lockdown was called for the whole Australian Capital Territory, home to around 400,000 people, because authorities do not know how the infected person caught the virus. Panic buying and long queues were reported at supermarkets across the state as the lockdown approached. Meanwhile, Sydney's lockdown has been extended to at least August the 28th, with a raft of changes to restrictions announced, including an outdoor mask mandate and a 5-kilometre radius travel limit. Heavy rains have triggered severe floods and mudslides in northern Turkey, killing at least 6 people and leaving others missing or injured. Helicopters scrambled to rescue people stranded on rooftops, while cars were swept away in raging torrents. Turkey's north is prone to flash floods in the summer when rains are particularly strong. Last year, at least 5 people were killed in the floods in the region. Indian rescuers have found the wreckage of a bus that was trapped under mud and boulders a day after a landslide in northern Kinnaur district killed at least 13. Falling boulders swept a truck, a bus and other vehicles from a stretch of the national highway. Officials say that rescue operations are being hampered by rocks that are continuing to fall and that about 60 people are feared to be buried under the debris. More than 200 personnel, including from the army, paramilitary forces and local police, are currently taking part in the rescue mission. Meanwhile, an Indian rocket carrying a powerful Earth observation satellite has failed to fire fully in a major setback for the country's space program.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The satellite was meant to provide real-time images used to monitor natural disasters such as cyclones, cloudbursts and thunderstorms. A technical fault occurred in the third and final ignition stage shortly after the rocket was launched from the Space Centre in southern India. The space agency did not disclose what would happen to the rocket and satellite after the ignition failure. Zambians are voting in nationwide elections after a tense campaign dominated by economic woes and the impact of the coronavirus. President Edgar Lunga, who faces a stiff challenge from opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema, was among the first people to vote as polls opened in the capital Lusaka. Polling opened at 6 a.m. with long queues seen at voting booths in the capital, which could point to a big turnout. A ship sailing under a Panama flag has run aground near a harbour in northern Japan and is leaking oil. The 21-member crew of the ship has been rescued with no injuries reported, but images from the scene show the ship has split in two. The vessel's 2 parts have not moved and are being closely monitored by patrol boats. The vessel, which was at the end of a voyage from Thailand, was carrying wood chips. And finally, a German animal shelter is trying a new approach to find homes for abandoned pets by posting their profiles on a dating app. The hope is that lonely humans looking for love might also settle for the company of a cat or dog. The shelter in Munich got an advertising agency to shoot professional pictures of 15 animals, including a black and white cat called Captain Kirk that it put on TINDER. The shelter said that several people have already swiped right to set up their first date. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.